episode of the Sean Farrell podcast. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Jesus Christ died and he rose again. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay. So you all saw the video of me telling my story at the suicide prevention walk here in Memphis a few weeks ago. Okay. But because of time restrictions, we had to be kind of quick. Okay. So I really couldn't say what I fully wanted to say, again, because of time restrictions. Okay. And so I think it's only appropriate that during Men's Mental Health Month, this would be the appropriate time to say what I really wanted to say, or say what I really wanted to say, but due to time restrictions, I had to cut some parts out. I had to cut some parts out, right? Okay. So I started my story at saying I had a little bit of a rough and uneven childhood, which I did. I had two bike accidents. The first one was I got hit by a car. Second one was in 2000 when I flipped my bike and I landed head first. Okay. And I also was dealing with a speech problem as well. Okay. So I don't remember people in the neighborhood where I grew up in for probably the first 10, 11 years of my childhood. I don't remember people making fun of my speech problem, but I do remember them. But one friend who I grew up with, she seems to remember. She seems to remember the kids in the neighborhood making fun of my speech problem. Okay, they remember that. I don't remember that again, but they do. And they wrote me a long letter a few years ago saying how sorry they were. Okay, that they didn't speak up for me when I was a kid or whatnot. And hey, apology accepted. Okay, we were kids. Okay, and in some situations, kids don't know what to do. Okay, so apology accepted. Anyways, so yeah, I had my first bike accident in 1994, and I ended up missing the whole summer because I was in the cast recovery. Okay. Then in 1997, or 1999, rather, I told this part of the story. I had my shorts pulled down on the bus. It got to my stop. They were repeating my high progress as I was trying to get off. Pulled my shorts down. Cried all the way home. Okay. Then I already talked about the second bike accident, which was on the third day of my freshman year in high school. Okay. I was dead for a few minutes. Okay. I was dead for a few minutes. And when I came back, I knew what hope was coming. I knew what hope was coming even long before I even got back. But I was kind of hoping that they would understand. But like I said at the walk, high school kids are the meanest in the world, and they don't give a damn. Okay, they truly don't give a damn. And like I said, I heard it for 4 years. Wasn't funny to me because, like I said, I was dead for a few minutes. Okay, I was dead for a few minutes. But It was God who woke me up. He woke me up while I was down on the ground, bleeding and whatnot. Okay. So, like I said, anger issues after I graduated, depression, suicide attempt. Okay. And I got into therapy, decided to seek help, counseling for myself. Okay. When I tried to beat it on my own, because um, the more I tried to beat it by myself, the worse it got for me. Okay. And so I sought help um, myself, but I still didn't have a support system like I do today. The only people who knew were myself and my counselor. So that was my support system right there, my counselor. Okay. So I didn't have any other support outside of my counselor. Right. And so I thought I was good in 2012. Okay. I thought I was good in 2012 because I was making progress. I thought I was good in 2012 because I was making progress. I was starting to come around. And then I thought that progress was, you're good. But it was just that progress. So I got out of counseling. And I was good for a couple of months. Okay. I was doing good for a couple of months. Okay. Then it all came back, and it came back stronger than ever. The depression, the suicidal ideations, they came back stronger than ever. And it came back stronger. Its grip was like tighter. Okay. And I found myself back in that space again. Okay. Um, Found myself back in that dark space again, and through failed, um, had a failed relationship in 2010, 2011. Had a failed relationship then. Um, and was going through just a really, really dark time in 2012. Um, and I often say that if I could go back to 2012, I would attempt it. Yeah, I was just that. I was just that. I was just in that dark of a place. Um, yeah, I was just at a dark of a place. Got back in counseling, and it's helped, and it's helped, and I'm still in counseling to this day. Okay. Um, I've gotten better. I got better over the years. There was depression, suicidal ideation, but I eventually ended up coming through it every time. That's when I began to volunteer for AFSP around 2017, 2018. And I went to my first walk, I believe, in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. It was around 2018, 2019. So I'm trying to be accurate here. I think it was 2018. So I've been involved with the suicide prevention walks with AFSP for about 8 years. Okay. And so every walk, went to my first walk in 2018. It was good. 2019, better. 2020, of course, we had COVID, so we walked from different areas. 20 21 was good. Um, Now 2022, I was having the time of my life. Yeah, that's when I was having the time of my life. Um, the love, warmth, fellowship, tears, the camaraderie of everybody who came together to support suicide prevention. I was having the time of my life, okay? And I was sitting there, and there's a picture of me, and I'm holding a peace sign, and I'm sitting next to one of our fellow committee members, okay? I was sitting next to one of my fellow committee members, and I'm holding a peace sign like this, okay? So little did she know that I was halfway having the time of my life, and I was halfway in a dark place because there was a situation that I was dealing with that nearly led me to end my life by suicide, okay? I was scammed out of thousands of dollars, okay? I was scammed out of thousands of dollars. And I was so humiliated, so embarrassed. Like, how the hell could you fall off of that? Okay. How stupid could you be? And I asked myself those questions for a couple of weeks there. Okay. I asked myself those questions for a couple of weeks. And I nearly did it. I nearly did it. But I didn't. Okay. So not only that, I've been going to the Nashville walk to support a friend who you saw on my podcast a few weeks ago, Brenda Williams Denbo. Okay, she lost her husband to suicide. Okay, and we actually met through AFSP, as she said. I actually met her when she was on the committee for the Memphis walk. Yeah, yeah, she was on the committee for a Memphis walk for like a year, and we met. I was at work one day and I called her by accident because because her and her boss happen to have the same name. So I accidentally called her, which turned out to be one of the best accidental calls I made. Okay. And she's been there and she's been there for me. She's always checking. Her and her husband are always checking on me to see how I'm doing. Okay. So I go to the Nashville walk every year. It's only like a 3-hour drive from Memphis. And I go to the Nashville walk to support her for losing her husband to suicide, her ex-husband to suicide. Okay, I should say. She lost her ex-husband to suicide. But as she told you, she remarried. Okay. So I've been going to the Nashville walk. Excuse me. Since 2021, I believe. Yeah, since 2021, I believe. Yeah, and what is the one thing that we don't do here? Don't do at AFSP. We don't walk alone. Okay, that's one of the things we say before we walk. Um, we don't walk alone. Find somebody to walk with you. Okay, so straight, straight up. In 2021, I walked alone. Okay, in 2022, 2022, I walked alone, if I can remember. In 2023, no, in 2022, Brenda was there. Okay, she was there. Brenda was there in 2022. And yeah, it's all coming back to me now. Okay. In 2021, I walked alone. Okay. 2022, Brenda was there. And she was there, and but I still chose to walk alone. Okay. I still chose to walk alone. 2023, I walked alone. She wasn't there. Family things. 2024, she wasn't there. I walked alone. Okay. And so I remember when they say we don't walk alone. Okay. And in my mind, I'm going like, well, you're about to have somebody who's gonna walk alone because um because yeah, 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 you're about to have somebody who walked alone. I just didn't tell anybody I was walking alone. Okay. And I don't think people really noticed. I don't think people really noticed that I was walking alone. But this year, 2025, when I was at the Nashville walk, that changed. Um, she was there. Okay. And I remember I got there early. I got there early. Got to Nashville early before the event even started. And I stopped by Starbucks to stretch my legs, get some coffee, whatnot, rest for a little bit. And I walked in, and the barista immediately noticed my shirt. Okay. She had immediately noticed my shirt, which said, "You matter." Okay. So then she was like, "Hey," she like, "Hey, hey, you matter, I matter, we all matter." Okay. So I was like, oh, she took notice. She took notice of my shirt. Go figure, right? And so I had another guy come up to me, like your shirt, sir, like your shirt. And then he briefly told me of some things that he went through. Okay. Okay. So I get to the walk. Okay. I text Brenda, and she said she's gonna be there in a couple of minutes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then she gets there. Then she's like, and she was with her sister and her daughter, if I'm mistaken. She was there with her sister and her sister's daughter. Okay. And so she got there, and she said, and she texted me, "Hey, where are you?" And she said, well, I said, then I sarcastically said, "You're just gonna have to find me." I sarcastically said, "You're just gonna have to find me," because I was in the crowd. So then she said, then she texted me where she was. We said, "Okay, I'm over here." Okay. So she literally, I wanted her to find me in the crowd, but um, she told me where she was, and I found her, and it did feel good to walk with. It did, and it was a change, but it did feel nice to walk with someone. Okay, for once, we walked. Talked about life, talked about suicide prevention. Um, had lunch with her sister and her daughter, and yeah, it was a nice time. It was a nice time. So that's what I really wanted to say. Okay, but due to time constrictions, okay, had to be short. But Yeah, so that's what I really wanted to say. And that's it. That's all for the Sean Farrell podcast. May God bless you all. You matter. Don't give up on yourself. Okay? Peace.